Hi guys, it's Jeff here, the photographer's mentor, and welcome back to another live with Michelle. And this time we're going to be talking about gratitude, and it'd be interesting to know if any of you do actually practice gratitude on a regular basis. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to find out about it in this webinar. And we're also going to talk about being ready for opportunity. And the reason we're going to talk about that is because now in our lives, we have so much opportunity around us. Everything is just at the touch of a button away, but we have to be in the right position to reach out for opportunity. And gratitude is a great way of getting your mindset ready to position yourself ready for more opportunity and ready for more good stuff to come into your life. And obviously we're talking about money mindset as well. So this is a continuation on from last week's webinar. And if you missed last week's webinar, just go over to the hashtag Creating Successful Photographers, where you can watch a rerun of this. So I'm going to bring Michelle into the room. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. Yourself?
Very good. Very good. And you had a good, productive week?
It's always a productive week.
Well, especially productive because you've launched your Photographer's Mindset podcast, haven't you?
I have, yes. It's really exciting. So there's 2 episodes up so far, but there's going to be an episode going up every Monday. So there'll be lots more coming. And yeah, it's getting some really good feedback, actually, really good reviews. So I'm excited to see how it goes moving forward.
Did my review go on from Amazon? Because I did leave you one on there.
I haven't managed to read it properly, but I was chatting to someone else about it, and they went, "Oh, look, you've got this review," and I was like, "Right, I need to go and look at that one." So yeah, yours did. Thank you very much for that.
And it is a really, really good podcast. You come across absolutely fantastic on the podcast. You know, there's no ums and ahs. It flows really, really well. You got a very sort of inspirational voice. It's not monotone. It's up and lifting, and yeah, it's really good. And it's not on for hours. You know, it was 20-25 minutes worth of condensed tips, advice with actionable stuff you can take away and do. And I listened to both the introduction and the first episode while I was cooking my tea the other night, and really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, I did a lot of research into what length is really good for a podcast to keep people focused. I think if you go on too long, then people start to lose interest or they start zoning out from it. So I wanted to make sure it was the right sort of length for everybody to get as much as they could. So thank you.
And that's on Amazon. You just search the Photographer's Mindset podcast. Is that right?
Just Photographer's Mindset podcast is all you want. Amazon, Spotify, Audible, because there's Amazon Music and Audible, so there's the 2 separate ones it's on. I'm waiting for Apple to approve it, so as soon as they do, then it will go on there. And somewhere called Podcast Index. I have no idea what that is, but it's there. Or my website. So my website, I've embedded it into my website so that people can actually go there if they want.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And today we're going to be talking about money mindset again, but this time with regards to gratitude, and we're chucking in a bit about opportunity at the end.
We are, yes. So if you haven't watched last week, some of it will be referenced to last week. So it is a good one to go back and watch, because it will make it doesn't mean you can't watch this one on its own, but it'll just all link together and you'll be like, oh, okay, I get that. But it'd be lovely to hear where you all are, whoever's listening in. So do please pop comments in the chat. And if you've got any questions for me, put comments in the chat too, because we love questions and discussions. And
we do. And yeah, let us know where you are in the world. Pop it in the comments. And as Michelle said, if you have any questions for her, don't be afraid to shout out, because I can read the questions as Michelle is going along with our presentation.
Yeah.
So I'll just bring up your slides. There we are.
Thank you. So today we're obviously, as Jeff said, discussing growing your money mindset, and we're looking mainly at the gratitude side of money. So money will always match your mindset. So whether you have money coming in, whether you don't have money, whether you're stressed with money, whatever it is, money will show you where your mindset's at. And that's something that's really, really important, because if you don't have money right now, or your income's becoming low, more often than not, it's matching the way you feel and think at the moment and your beliefs. So it's a really good indication to where your mindset is. So gratitude. We live in a society that likes to moan, complain, and compare. This energy literally only attracts more to complain about. The law of attraction, which I'm not going into today, but you can research on, brings to you what you focus on. And for some reason, all we focus on at the moment is negative and lack. It's a huge part of our mindset within the UK, and I'm sure other countries as well. We almost seem to compare complaints. Like, we get in a group of friends and it's like, who can bring up the worst thing that's happened?
Yeah.
Who
And I think, like you said, it's very similar across the world. Obviously, I've got clients in about 20 different countries around the world, and I do speak a lot with American photographers, and they think that we sometimes have it better in the UK, and I say, oh my God, it can't be as bad as we seem to have it in the UK, because everybody seems to be going on about this horrendous time we're in at the moment on social media and in the news. Obviously, I don't watch the news, try to keep away from the negative social media side, but it is a worldwide thing. I think, and it's just general. People go into that complaining, and if you surround yourself with those sort of people, then you're just going to stick within that mindset, aren't you?
You are. And honestly, we are just a nation of competing to who has it worse, which I find crazy. It's definitely not a very good energy to be in. It's also really, really rare to hear someone actually being grateful for a bill or spending money. But it's time for you guys to all switch your mindset and actually celebrate the outgoings. By complaining about our bills, we're creating an even more mindset full of lack, that we don't have enough. By complaining that we've got to pay this bill, it's almost like saying, well, I don't have enough money for it. There's not enough money in the world for it. I'll never have enough money for this. So it builds and creates this lack attitude around money, which affects everything you do within business and within your life as well. But pretty much every outgoing gives us something, be it food, be it shelter, electricity, be it something shiny that we can't help but want to buy, or a journal, or stickers, or whatever it is that you're into, or even buying an adventure with your friends and you're going out for a meal together and you're getting memories, and whatever you're spending gives you something. But for some reason, we don't focus on what it gives us, and we just focus on the fact that we have to give money to do it, rather than sitting there and going, well, actually, I'm really warm in my house. I've got heat. Like, there are some countries that don't. There are some people that don't. But instead, we seem to just focus on the fact that there's a monetary exchange and not the value of what we get. And
it only takes a couple of things, like a power cut. I remember that last, the big storm we had at the beginning of the year, Storm Owen, and we up here in Northumberland, we had like 4 days without power. And you think during the day, you think, oh, it's not too bad. I'll just put a coat on. I can manage without the lights on. But then he's like, I'll have a cup of tea. Oh, I can't put the kettle on. I can't get a shower because the water's going to be cold. So then, yes, you don't jump at you're not excited about paying your electric bill, but when you realize what electricity does and what you get in exchange for that money, the fact that, yes, you can play on your laptop for maybe 10 hours, but when the battery goes and your mobile phone goes and you've got another 4 days without power, it's pretty miserable, because your business runs on that. Your current life runs on it. So when you think about what you get in exchange for that money you pay out, you should be grateful for it, because it allows you to have the life that you live and run your business.
It's so funny that you just used that as an example, because I actually lost my electric on Monday.
Oh.
And we lost it from 12. It was till about 8:30, but they said it wasn't going to be up and running till midnight. So we were literally sat in the kitchen with candles, and we were luckily we had gas, so we were lighting the hob with a lighter or matches, and then we were boiling water. Well, I don't drink tea or coffee, but they were boiling water to have their coffee. And it was like camping or something, but we all were like, what do we do? You know, you're so used to being online or doing this, that, and the other. And obviously the internet was off, and my 4G in the house actually isn't any good. So I couldn't really do anything. So it's that interesting, like you say, as soon as you miss it, like hot water or anything else, you start to appreciate it a little bit more. And I think we need to remember, I know that everything is going up at the moment. And this is where the next bit comes in. We actually cannot control that the electric is going up right now. We can't control it. We can't control that gas is going up right now, and we can't control that food is going up right now. What we can control is either, okay, I'm going to buy a cheaper loaf of bread, not a problem, or you can control working more and gaining more money. And I don't mean working longer hours, I mean being more productive within your business. That 80-20 rule of 20% of what you do brings in 80% of your clients. So now you need to focus on that 20%. You need to be bringing those clients in. So rather than sitting there complaining about the bills, use that energy, use that need to make the money to drive your business forward, not sitting there spending 3 hours complaining about the electric. It does you no good at all. It actually causes stress, lack of sleep, lack of focus. It creates more distractions because you don't have the brain power to focus, because you're allowing all of your focus to be taken by the worry and the negative side of the bills. Not forgetting how many hours we lose online or with friends just complaining about it.
Yeah. There's funny enough, there's a great book, and I'm going to put it in the comments. And it's a book called The Daily Stoic. And I think it's Ryan Holiday who does that book. And I've got it in the living room. I would have showed it, but it's in the other room. And it's a book that you can just pick up and read one page every day. That's what you got to just read one page of this book every day. And it gets your mindset around that, about only being concerned about things you can control. That's why I stopped watching the news about 3 years ago. I've never read a newspaper for about 5 years. And people go, well, how do you manage? I said, fantastically. Because what is the point of worrying about something that I can't control? You know, my voice doesn't make any difference to it. It doesn't affect me. The only person who's going to put more money into my pocket, doesn't matter who our prime minister is, or it doesn't matter what happens with the economy, where things are going to go with me is what I do, what I focus on. And that's what this Daily Stoic book's about. And it's mine is, I folded over so many pages and highlighted stuff because I'm like, wow, that makes total sense. You know, if you want to live a much happier, much more positive, and energized day, it's getting your mind in the right place so you're able to do it. I'll put it into the comments.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'll have to make a note of that one. I've not read that one yet. Yeah, but it's just basically all this complaining, all this stressing on stuff we can't control, just forces us to sit and lack and makes money more scarce, because we're wasting time on other things. We're not concentrating on the stuff that's bringing us in money. We're just literally wasting time. So I know this might trigger some people. And I do understand that, because money is a very triggering subject. But honestly, we can't control it. The best we can do is vote, like, when we can. And if somebody comes up with some sort of peaceful protest, we can go and join in. But the stuff we actually are doing, which is just moaning, has no benefit whatsoever to anything or anybody. And that's something that we really have to think about. Here's a statement for you to say. I love money. Money loves me. I would love to know how that makes any of you feel. Because for a lot of people, it will probably make you feel a little bit icky. But this is your new daily saying, because if you can say this every day, you'll actually start to believe it, and then your money and your flow of money will change a lot. I love money. Money loves me. Somebody's just recommended his book, The Obstacle is the Way.
I'm going to put that into my. It's bound to be on Amazon Audio because I love my audiobooks. So thanks for that, Debbie. I'm going to stick that into I've got one credit actually.
We're both off to get. I'm off to get both of them now. Not that I don't have 10 sat the other side of me waiting to be read right now.
Funny enough, there was a talking about being grateful for money and money loving you, you know, and grateful for your bills. There was a trick, and this came from The Secret, which I used to. I did for about 2 years, and it was until I changed my car. And I remember reading The Secret, and it said, get the biggest nomination bill that you can have in your currency, which in the UK was a £50 note. I think you can actually get £100 notes, but just direct from the bank. But I've got a £50 note. And you got to put it in somewhere so it's around you all the time. So when you open your wallet or in your, it's in your car, it's there, and it's saying that, yeah, I've got money, you know, the money is plenty. And I had this £50 note in the sort of ashtray bit of my car, and it was only when I came to change my car 2 years later and hand it back to the lease company and get another one, that I broke that practice of having that £50 because it gets you in a mindset of plenty. You know, you got plenty coming towards you because you got this high value note. And then I think I actually broke into it and went to the pub with it when I changed my car.
I think they also say if you carry it in your wallet and you're walking past a shop, you remind yourself how many times you could spend it. So you look at something and go, well, if I wanted to, I could buy that. And if I wanted to, I could buy that. And that's meant to make you feel really abundant because you've got the money in your wallet to buy it, but actually you're just choosing not to. But if you wanted to, you could. You've got the money. So that was a practice. I don't know if that was from The Secret or if that was from someone else, but it followed on from carrying that note around in you. Thank you for your bills. So here is where the gratitude comes in. Every time you pay a bill, spend a minute or two being grateful for it. And I think a little bit later on, I say to light candles and be like, put yourself in a good mood when you're going to thank for the bills. Don't just kind of be sat in the kitchen going for the bills, going, thank you. You need to actually get into that feeling of thanking for the bills. And this may not be easy. We have a lifetime of complaining to change. The whole life has always been about complaining about bills. It's just the way the world seems to tell us to do. But be thankful for what it gives you, like we were saying earlier. Be that electric, be it a chance and bit of that should be of being a photographer. Do you really want to be in a 9 to 5 in an office all day? Or do you want to be a photographer because you love it? Well, guess what? Your bills that you pay allow you to be a photographer, be it your studio fee, be it paying off a loan for a camera, be it paying a subscription fee for your website. All of those allow you to do what you're doing now and to do something you love rather than being stuck in an office. Remember that. Thank it for that. And it will truly change your mindset around money. It will stop you from hating money. You'll start to celebrate it. It will lower stress and you'll just love money more. There's a comment saying, I hate money, but without money, we can't live, so that I love money. Money is not the issue. Money is never the issue. It's a thing. It's a piece of paper. It's not even real. It's like a little piece of paper, or it's a number in the bank. Money is just a transactional thing that you have. In the olden days, it would have been vegetables for a cow. Or somebody would build something and you'd give them carrots. Like it was always there. It's just that we've got a form of currency called money that isn't really real. You're saying you hate something that isn't real. That's quite a high emotion towards something. And if you actually hate money, physically hate money, and mentally and emotionally hate money, you will never have money, because you're almost like, I don't want money, I hate it, make it go away. It's that kind of mindset. And you'll actually hate taking money off your clients. You'll hate spending the money. You'll hate all things to do with money. You're just going to hate. So try not to keep that.
I have a little practice where I actually I really enjoy paying certain types of bills as well. I really, really enjoy paying, and I make it a point that the absolute minute it lands on my doorstep, this bill, it comes in through my email, that I whack the money straight over to that person. So there's quite a few freelancers who I use for like design and do stuff work with me online, and then people who are in my community who I use for my copywriting, my book writing. And as soon as those people pay me bill, I instantly pay it, even if it says due within 14 days. I pay it the day it arrives, because I remember when I was in a position 7 years ago and I lost all my money and I had nothing, how that one little thing, if I had a surprise, oh my God, such and such has paid us 99 quid or 50 quid, I've got that money a bit quicker, how good I felt about that. And, especially if you use companies, you use things like Fiverr. I've just got a designer who's designing my new book for me, my Insider, my new book, which is going to go live next month, and she's billing me $300 for that. So that's about 250 quid. I'll pay her straight away. As soon as she's finished the job, I'll pay it, because in her country, that is a lot of money, and she can't be waiting for that. She's done the work, and I want to think she's going to be happy because she's been paid a fair price for what she's done. She wasn't one of the cheapest ones, and I want her to feel like, how we all feel when we all get a big bill paid or we get some money in. It brings a smile to us. Oh, I wasn't expecting them to pay that. I feel great, and I like to be able to pass that on to other people.
And people feel valued when you pay like that.
Yeah. Funny enough, there's a guy I know who lives in my local area who is very, very wealthy, has a lot of money, but he is known, hardly any tradesman will work for him, and he's known for never paying bills, putting people off. He has lots of money. He has a lot of really fancy cars. He lives in a big house. He doesn't have any friends, and nobody has a bad word to say about him. So what's that got him? By nothing. Treating everybody badly and not paying people.
Yeah, nothing at all. Yeah, it's a shame how different people use it. But yeah, actually, funnily enough, I think on one of the ones coming up, I mentioned about avoiding paying your bills, and the bad energy that brings with it. But this is just a little scientific thing for you. So 2 psychologists in the University of Miami, they did some research in gratitude. And in one study, they asked all the participants to write a few sentences each week focusing on particular topics. One group wrote about things they were grateful for, and the other one wrote about daily irritations. And the third wrote about events that had affected them, with no emphasis on it being positive or negative. So they were I can't remember what the word is, the thingy group. After 10 weeks, those who wrote gratitude were both more optimistic, and they actually felt better in their lives. They also exercised more, and they had fewer visits to doctors or anybody who focused on sources of aggravation. So not only did it make them feel better, they also improved their lives through it by doing things like exercising more and having fewer doctor visits and things like that. So gratitude can have a huge effect on your body as well as your mind. And money, I think, is one of the biggest things we complain about. And I think that's one of the issues, is money is one of the biggest things we complain about. We don't be grateful for it. We don't love it. We just constantly look at it as a bad thing. Yeah. And we need to let that go. Massively. Yeah, we all know that there's, money does run the world in certain ways. But again, that depends on what you focus on to what you see. I don't see it anymore because I don't read the news or watch the news or get involved with anything that I can't control. So therefore, I don't see money running the world because I don't get involved with the stuff I can't control, if that makes sense. I don't know how you feel about that, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'm totally like that. And I think the other way to look at people say like money's bad and money is power and money's the root of all evil and stuff. But then money can be the root of all good. It depends what you do with the money. So there's lots of people who put their money to charity. There's lots of people who have money and do stuff with it for the benefit of other people. And you can even look at big corporations and think, yeah, but how many jobs do they give employment to people too? How much do they bring to a particular, even like an Amazon? Loads of people have bad things to say about Amazon, but how much do they put back into giving people wages, paying corporation tax, paying vehicle tax, paying rates for, even if they escape paying their actual tax bills, they've still got to pay PAYE for their employees. They've still got to pay their rates and light and energy for the big huge buildings that they have. So out of every sort of form, there's good and bad from money, isn't it? So you can't, it's like tarring money with the same brush, isn't it? But I like what Sammy says, wish happiness ran the world. And wasn't there a country somewhere, it was one of the Asian countries, I forget where, was it not not Nepal, where they were going to try and make that like the national currency. Their energy level wasn't going to be based on their gross national product, their gross national profit. It was going to be on their gross national happiness, and that was how they were going to view their country. And I think that was a brilliant thing to do. Yes, it doesn't matter how rich our country is, because we're not a massively rich country, but we are one of the happiest countries in the world, because a wealthy country doesn't necessarily mean it's a very happy country.
No, and that's so important. Like, people talk about money, but money doesn't always make us happy. But yeah, you have to have a balance of all things, which is where the gratitude of money comes in.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, but I love that. But yeah, it is true. We all wish, I think, happiness would be all that we ever needed. Another example of a scientific experiment for you is Emoto. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He does have a book, and he has done some amazing experiments, and he did them all in the 1990s. And this is just one of many of the experiments he did. But his experiments were all on the effect words have on energy or on water or different things. And for this specific one, he placed 2 cups of cooked white rice in 2 separate jars and labeled one "thank you" and the other one "you fool." And he put it in an elementary school classroom, and the students had to speak the words on the labels to the jar twice a day. After 30 days, the rice in the jar that was constantly insulted had shriveled into black gelatin mass, and the rice in the jar that was thanked was white and fluffy as the day it was made. And this just shows you how the power of words and the power of gratitude, I feel, in a way. Because if you're thanking your bills, they're not going to be this, your money and your money energy is not going to be this shriveled black mass. It's going to be the white fluffy rice.
Yeah.
Whereas if you start degrading money all the time, then it's going to be this black gelatinous mass that you're just not going to love or have or enjoy. And I think it's really important that we think about this. Not only that, but when we think about the words we say to each other in general, we are made up of, 70-80% water, whatever it is, along with the rice. Like, the rice was cooked. Rice is full of water when it's cooked.
Yeah.
We're full of water. So the exact same thing happens to us if we're horrible to ourselves. Our body deteriorates. We have to go to the doctor more. We have more illnesses. We have more stress. We have more anxiety. So it's really, really important, whether it be money, whether it be friendship, whether it be anything, that we are being kind to ourselves and not degrading ourselves all the time and turning us into this black gooey mass.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good, and he's done a lot more experiments that all confirm the same thing. He did a lot with icicles and the different shapes of ice and things like that, which is really interesting. Now, looking at gratitude in itself, I've listed here a few of the many benefits that come along. You can have better friendships and relationships. You'll be happier. Your overall physical health will be better. Your psychological well-being will be better. Your social health will be better. Personality will be more positive. You'll have better mental strength, self-esteem, better sleep, emotional intelligence, more empathy. It will reduce aggression. You'll become more likable. You'll be more optimistic. You may find that it improves your spirituality, improves your decision making, because you're not going to make decisions out of fear. You're going to make decisions from a place of happiness and love. Understanding your purpose. If you're constantly moaning, you're never ever going to see your purpose. And also that reducing stress that we've chatted about as well. And it doesn't matter if this gratitude is money or other things, all this stuff will happen. But like I say, money is one of our biggest complaints. I really truly believe that if we can complain about anything, we seem to complain about money. I know when I get together with my friends, it is, oh, this has gone up, that has gone up. I'm seeing it on Facebook every day now. I'm seeing people complaining about all the bills and all the money, and I think it's really, really important that this is a big area we have to change within our lives. We have to change the energy so that we can make more money and be more positive and focus on bringing the money in, and not sit there spending all day focusing on everything that's going out, because it just won't help you, and it won't help your business either, because you will just waste time. You won't be productive. You'll be sitting there going, oh, what's the point in doing a blog post because all this money's going out and I'm never going to keep up with it? Or, you've got so many beliefs in that you could be. I'm just double checking if I've got those things. I have got spending. You've got all of those things that you're just concentrate on that will take away from the positive you could be giving or doing.
And I think when you get yourself, when you get yourself on a high, when things that feeling when money starts flowing towards you, is you start to get yourself on a roll, don't you? And they say, like, things happen in threes for the bad things, but they also do in the good things as well. And I've seen it loads of times before with me where, I've had something good come along and something else good comes along, and I won't let anything negative alter that flow. If something doesn't go right, I just go, oh, well, it wasn't meant to be. I've now got that attitude to brush stuff off very, very easily and not let it affect me, because I think 7 years ago, I couldn't have got much lower than I was anyway. So anything I get that's a negative now is nowhere near what it was 7 years ago. So it's nothing here. Just brush over it. It'll all be good tomorrow. And I have a little saying in my mind that if something has gone wrong that day, I always say, well, I'm just going to reset the day and I'm going to go to bed early tonight. I'm going to read and then get up tomorrow and it's a fresh start.
They do say, like, there's that thing, isn't there? If you get out of bed on the wrong side of the bed, because obviously there's that saying, the wrong side of the bed, and say you wake up late and then you trip over something on your floor, and then your day, because you're already in a negative mindset, just keeps getting negative. And it doesn't matter if someone comes and tells you you've just written the best piece of work you've ever written, or you land a client that's 10 grand or whatever. You still will only focus all day because of what happened at the beginning of the day, and you've let it get into your mind. You will spend the whole day focusing on everything that goes wrong, even if you have 1,000 things go right, because that's where your focus is. And the same the other way, if you get up in the morning and everything's going right for you and you just think, oh, this is going right, you'll then focus on the good stuff. But it's rare that we do that. It's so rare that we focus on the good side of everything. We just seem to be in a society. We're in a society that sells not feeling good enough and not feeling happy. And you will see it: buy this makeup and you'll feel better, do this and you'll feel better, take this injection and you'll be skinnier. Like, it's all those kind of things, and we see it all the time. So we're conditioned to not enjoy the day so much and not enjoy money because we think money's hard, when actually we could just believe it's easy and it's fun. And you could even treat it like a game that you play on your phone. How much money can you make today? How many Candy Crush levels can you go up today? It's the same thing.
And I always think it's like, if you get stuck with something or something bothers you, then think, how relevant will this be tomorrow? Like, I was away 2 weeks ago in Copenhagen, coming back to the airport, and there was a 90-minute delay on the flight, and we're all in a queue at the actual gate. That was where the delay was, and the 3 people behind us, I was starting to get a little bit irritated with them because of the language, and I was with my daughter, and I kept sort of like turning back and giving them a glance, and I just thought, what are you complaining about? It doesn't, you're not going to move forward any further. It's just whatever's happened, the reason for the plane not, the door not opening is beyond your control. There's nothing you can do about it. So when it opens, and we get on. In the meantime, try and do something different. Go and get yourself a coffee, have a sit down, but they were constantly looking around over towards the plane and then turning back to each other. What's going on? This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to complain to Ryanair. This is what you get when you book a cheap flight. You've just been on holiday, for God's sake. Cheer up. It's 90 minutes. It makes nothing tomorrow when you get back home. So
you have a choice in every moment to choose to make the things an advantage or to be happy.
Yeah.
Or to choose to let it affect you, to be negative. And do you really want to spend your life wasting a very short time we have moaning and complaining about things you can't control? Because we do have a short life.
Mm-hmm.
Not, short, but time. I can't believe it's November, for God's sake. That's the thing. It's November already. Like, time goes fast. Don't waste it. Another saying I've got for you is, I am a money magnet. That's something for you to say every morning when you wake up, along with the other one, I love money, even though you all don't like me for saying I love money and money loves me. But those 2 affirmations are really, really good. The more you say it in your conscious brain, the more your subconscious brain will accept it. And that's really, really important from a belief perspective. But I am a money magnet, and then start looking for money on the floor because you find it.
And and you are totally right there. And I did some training with a guy who's on LinkedIn called Ian Bickle, and anybody who knows me knows that I've always had an up and down relationship with my weight and with food. I try to keep myself fit, but I always put myself in some miserable moods when I put weight on. But I would always say to people, I love cake. I'm addicted to cake. So this guy who's a food mindset coach got me around, and he said, right, Jeff, he says, you're not addicted to cake, right? You enjoy cake, but you can control it. He says, so no longer want you to say that I'm addicted to cake. And eventually, after a series of about 6 or 8 weeks, and you know how much I've gone on about cake before when we've talked in the past, I've now got to the stage where I actually go to the shops and I'm like, I'm not really bothered. I'll get, and I'm like, is this me? Is this Jeff saying that? Because I would always be straight into cakes. And I've even seen myself being out and like, it wasn't that nice. And I've left 3/4 of the cake because it wasn't that amazing, but I would have eaten it prior to that, because now I've convinced myself that I'm not addicted to cake. And if I want a bit of cake, I'll have it, but I don't have to have it every single day. And there he is, Ian Bickle. That's the guy who taught us that mindset, that I don't need to say this all the time. I don't have to position myself and think I'm addicted to cake, because I'm not addicted to cake. Yeah, I like a bit of cake, but I'm not addicted. And yesterday, Ian, I was going to reward myself with a big piece of apple pie because I finished writing my book, and I never even went to the end. I was like, I can't be bothered. So I just had a Freddo. So.
Oh, but have you gotten rid of your addiction to Freddos? That's what I want to know.
I've still got about 20 in the fridge off Halloween. So, I think I got rid of my addiction because I haven't eaten 20 after Halloween. Normally I would have.
Yeah. No, there you go. You are awesome, Ian.
He is. He's a brilliant guy. Absolutely brilliant guy. And what he says is true. So the same process can be put towards food as it can towards money. Your mindset around food and what you eat.
It's everything, really. everything is a belief. You've just got to control what you believe and undo the conditioning you've had for years that you may not even have realized you've had. And that's what mindset is. Spending. Who are you when you spend? It's my question for you, because all of you are going to be different. Are you the person who never treats themselves and feels guilty? Or are you the person that as soon as money hits their account goes out and buys all the shiny things? I personally have been both. But often these are part of upper limits that we discussed last week. These beliefs and upper limits can also stop us from outsourcing and spending money on things that will actually benefit our business in so many ways. Take time out to think about how you handle your money. So I want you, and I'm going to stay on this slide for a minute, and if you've got pen and paper, write these questions down that I've written here, and spend some time later really looking at how you spend your money and what you do with your money, because this is going to show where your mindset sits, and this is going to show where your beliefs sit as well. And Ian, I just love that you commented saying, you know, these are all emotional issues, and you commented at 111. And straight away all I saw is 111. So that's brilliant. If anybody doesn't know about angel numbers and 111, often they're numbers that stand out to you to remind you of things that are true, or you'll notice a certain number and you can look up what it means, and you'll be seeing it every day and you'll be like, what is this? You can research what the number is. But 111 is a big one. That's one that comes up a lot for people. So here are the questions. What triggers do you have with money? Now, triggers are things that emotionally upset you. They either make you angry, upset, sad, depressed. There are triggers that make you happy. You might want to write those down too to remind yourself of what makes you happy with money. But what triggers you around money? Do you put off paying the bills, which is what we were discussing about earlier? If you do, why? Is it a fear that your bank account will then be empty? Is it a fear you've had since childhood that there's just not enough money? And even if you've got £5,000 in the bank, you're still going to put off paying your bills because perhaps you never believe you'll have enough money to cover them. Why? What is that trigger? What makes you put off paying your bills? Do you buy things as soon as money hits your account? Again, why? Ask yourself why. So it could be, and I know one of the things I've done in the past is where in my younger years we didn't have a lot of money. When I finally got money in my account, I was like, ooh, money. I have to spend it, because if I don't spend it, it'll go on something else. And if it goes on something else, it might be a bill. So I'm going to go and spend it on the shiny things that make me happy, and not so much the bill side of it. So yes, are you literally having to spend your money straight away in case it disappears? Do you think someone's going to steal it, like the tax man, for example?
I have a couple of these bank accounts. I've one of these people with lots of different bank accounts for different things. Probably my OCD organization thing, and I have two bank accounts that I physically can't see, as in there's no access to them online. So I can transfer into them, but I can't transfer back the other way. And I don't have online banking for them. So I have to physically go into a bank or utilize a cash machine to go and see what my balance is. And when you live in the middle of the countryside like I do, there isn't a cash machine in my village. So what I do is when I get money in, if somebody pays me, say, £1,000, there will be percentage. So I'll know that 10% goes into my tax account, 10% goes into my savings account. Then it might be 5% into the holiday fund account, 5% into whatever that new treat is going to be. So it might be a really nice coat. It might be, the future motorbike that I'm going to get. And I don't know how much go into those two other accounts. And I will only make a purchase when those accounts reach that amount to make that big purchase. So no more getting stuff on tick or on credit or overspending. And it's quite nice because when I went to Copenhagen a couple of weeks ago, I had my holiday spending money. So I'd been putting money into this account, and it was only when I got to the airport that I actually went and checked the balance. And I'm like, oh, I got a couple of $100 more in this account for spending over 3 days than I actually thought I had. Sometimes it's a really, really nice surprise. And it's having a purpose for the spending and allowing myself, if I want to spend X amount of money on a new coat, then I can have it. As long as it's my money, if I put it away gradually and build up, if it costs £2,000 and if that's what I want, then I'll buy it. But only when I've got the money for it. Because
I want to know how many Freddos you bought with that extra couple of hundred.
And I spent it all on Danish pastries.
But yeah, you're right. I actually am the same now. I never used to, but I actually have separate bank accounts now. And I have one for my bills, which I know exactly how much it is and how much the direct debits come out each month. They're my personal ones. And I literally monthly transfer the money over there, and I don't even look at the account. I don't even have a card. I think I have a card somewhere for the account, but it's literally for my bills. And then I have a savings account. It is an online account, but it's with a different bank, so I never bother to log on, and I don't have the app on my phone. So again, I don't see it until the time comes. So I think it's a really good way of doing it, and not being scared to put that percentage away. There's a lot of people,
especially if you have account. I've got a Moneybox account, and that's great because Moneybox allows you to have. I've got 7 accounts with Moneybox. So you've got like your savings accounts and your investment accounts and your ISAs and shares. But then they've got a 30-day account, a 45-day account, a 90-day account, and a 120-day account. So you can't be tempted to. I'll take 500 quid out or take a couple of hundred quid out for this weekend and go and do it, because you've got to give 30 days notice, or you've got to give 45, and that takes away that impulse to just buy something that you don't really need. You can then plan your big purchases, because we all get to that stage where we do a clear out or something. Go, oh my god! I remember how excited I was to buy this for 200 quid. I've never wore it. I've never used it. And then you think, yeah, and how much is it worth now? And now I'm going to put it on eBay and sell it for like half the price. So yeah, it takes away that spontaneity of just spending for the sake of spending.
Yeah, I never spend for the sake of spending, honestly. I didn't just buy some more crystals. Yeah, no, it is a really good thing to do, I think. And yeah, so what do you do when your money hits your account? Do you spend it? Do you put it in savings? Do you refuse to spend on things that could improve your business? And what I mean by this, honestly, is things like outsourcing. I know so many people who are worried about money and outsourcing, even if they do have the money to do it. The thing is with outsourcing is you can stop it if money starts getting below a certain amount each month. But the time you will gain from giving some of those people will be amazing. You'll have more time to work on your business, more time to grow it, more time to make money, because we don't need to handle every part of our business constantly. There are other specialists who are better at stuff than we are. I have a PT instructor like you do, and the PT instructor is better than I am at making me work out.
Yeah.
Just like someone who loves admin will be way better at doing my admin than I will.
I see so many photographers, and it's funny, isn't it? This is a photographer thing. And obviously, I'll say to people on my program, I'll be very blunt to a point, and I'll say, I designed this on Canva and blah, blah, blah. And it took them like 3 hours. And I'm like, yeah, but you could have paid somebody tenner or 20 quid on Fiverr and it would look a lot better. And they're like, yeah, it doesn't look that good, does it really? I'm like, no, but look at all that time. What could you could have got all those pictures edited, or you could have actually been, when was the last time you post? When was the last time you wrote a blog? You know, and it's one thing I put in that book, the Ambitious Photographer's Journal. You know, I talk about in this book IGTs, income generating tasks. So it's about you doing the stuff that's going to bring money to you, and then other stuff that you struggle with. There are people around the world on Fiverr and places like that who are better at doing it than you and will do it for 10 times cheaper than you could get it done in your own country. But for them, because you're from the UK or the US or something like that, they're probably getting 10 times more than what they would have been paid in their own country. So everybody benefits. You get to outsource it. They probably do a better job than if you try to do it yourself. And you can concentrate on what you're really, really good at. So I have somebody who does my copywriting. I have somebody who does my design. I have somebody who does my book layouts. You know, there's lots of people within my business, but it's still just me. It's still just Jeff Brown. But I've got lots of freelancers who do stuff who all comes together as part of the team. And it means I can do the stuff that I'm good at. And then other people do better jobs at the stuff that I could have done myself, but I wasn't really any good at it anyway.
I must admit, I bought templates for my social media Canva stuff. There was a load of templates, and they were perfect. Yeah. I just have to change the color for them, then put the wording I want in there, or drop in the image, and it takes me seconds compared to what would have taken me hours deciding. And I've got, I think in each one, I've got about 100 different templates to choose from. And they're really nicely laid out. And I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah. How many photographers will, you know, oh, I'm not going to spend 50 quid on that, on Canva, on buying pre-done templates. I'll do it myself. But I'll spend £2,000 on a new lens.
Or I'll spend 5 hours of my day trying to design it.
Yeah.
I think we said this last week, we stopped looking at time as money. Time is money. Everything you decide to do with your time, in a way, is money.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do with your time, if you're booking somebody or you're booking a portrait or a wedding, you're exchanging moments of your life for that shoot, for that booking. Yeah. We have to value our time.
And that's why it gets really important for photographers. You know, if you can't outsource, or if you can't do something, and if somebody is not going to exchange or give you money that values what you put on your own worth for your time, and one of the biggest things you need to start utilizing is the word no. And I've started doing that, you know, like I will do a load of stuff for free for speaking events for like associations and stuff. But if somebody's wanting me to go and speak at a networking meeting and it's an hour because I'm live in the middle of nowhere, and then an hour at the networking meeting, and they say, oh, it's 100 quid or something, I'll be like, actually, no, I'll turn it down. You can get somebody else who can speak about something different than me, and I'm going to spend time writing my blog, or I'm going to spend time, because that money, yes, I could have went there and got 100 quid, but then it's not a great deal amount of money for how better I'd feel if I got all this done off my list and took a bit of pressure off so I could take a bit of time off at the weekend. So it's that balance, isn't it, of getting your time and learning to say no to stuff that isn't really productive for your time, for the amount of money that you get paid for.
Oh, you disappeared then. Oh, you're back. Yeah, no is a very good word to learn. Or this isn't right for me, if you don't like the word no. Yeah. This isn't right for me. This is right for someone else.
Yeah.
You can use that way, because I know some people are a bit like, oh, I can't say no. I used to be that person. That's why I know that. Do you hate or love spending money? Because that will show your triggers to you as well. Are there certain things you don't value spending money on? And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. That just shows you where your values are. But what you want to make sure is that your values are in the right areas. Like, if you don't value spending money on your business to grow, is that a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't value clothes necessarily to a point. I don't spend a lot of money. I never have done. I don't know. Everybody, all my friends that female, look at me and go, what on earth? How do you only have that amount in your wardrobe? I'm quite happy with the same top in 4 different colors. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I am, but to me, that's not a value. I would rather spend it on a PT session with my gym instructor, or I would rather spend it with my energy coach, or with, my business mentor who's here too. So yeah, with Jeff, I'd rather spend the money on Jeff helping me with my business. That's just my value system. But it's always good to look at what your value system is and see if you're actually spending money aligned to what your value system is, or are you actually spending money in a way that isn't aligned with you, because you may not even realize you're doing it, and then you can make better choices and you can use money in a better way. So yeah, so hopefully you've all had time to write those down, and hopefully you're all still with us, because we were going to do these as small little things, and it's not small little things anymore, is it? And now we're just going to talk about opportunities and making things happen from money.
And I think opportunity is like, people think, or people have that belief that, they have to wait for opportunity to come to them. Well, yes, opportunity can come to you. But then when you're in a good frame of mind, if you put yourself out there and make yourself available for opportunity by being very, very visible, by being very positive, if you have a really positive outlook on social media and you're always preaching positive stuff, if people see you as a very positive and uplifting person as well, more people are going to want to be around you. More people are going to talk about you and say, oh yeah, you need to speak to such and such, and more opportunity starts to come your way. And it's amazing how opportunity compounds. And I think if you put yourself in a position ready for opportunity, or start looking out for opportunity, you know this very well. You write for one magazine, and then somebody at another magazine reads your article in their competitors and, oh, can you write for us? And then somebody sees that in that magazine and says, oh, would you do a webinar with us? Would you like to, we're looking for a sponsor, or we're looking for, and all this opportunity is out there. It's a case of you getting yourself out there and believing it's there, because like money, there's an unlimited amount of money in the world, but there's also unlimited amount of opportunity. And now our opportunity is global, even from our bedroom. We don't have to jump on a train or jump on a plane to go and seek opportunity. You don't have to go to the capital. You don't have to go, I have so much opportunity come my way. And I live in a tiny village, where there's more sheep here than there is people. But I get so much opportunity, and I work with clients all around the world, from Thropton, which we don't have a shop. we're getting a shop built, which is opening next in 2 weeks' time, and it's the big event for the village, because the village is going to have its first shop in 6 years or something like that. So it is available to anybody with an internet connection. There is unlimited amounts of opportunity, as there is unlimited amounts of money, but you have to be in that mind to receive it and also believe it.
Yeah, if you don't believe in it, you will just not do it. You'll convince yourself as well without even realizing. You'll sit there and be like, oh, I know what I could do. I could reach out to so-and-so. And then you sit there and you're like, oh, but you know what? I'm not sure they'll answer. I'm not sure they'll listen. What happens if they turn me down? What happens if I get rejected? Oh, I'm not going to feel good. Maybe it's just better not to do it in the first place. And you may not even realize this is what's going on unconsciously, but that's what happens unconsciously. And we ruin a lot of the opportunities we have, even to the point where someone might ask you something, but you might just never reply. Or you might never write that blog because you don't think anybody will read it. But it is truly up to you to decide that no matter what the outcome, you're going to go forward and try for these opportunities. And then 1 in 5 might work. 5 out of 5 might work. 3 out of 5 might work. But you'll still be further ahead than you were yesterday. And that's so important from a mindset perspective.
And I think, where you get yourself, it's so easy to get into that mindset perspective. And I've heard so many people say, I'd love to do that, or I've always dreamed of doing that. And I'm saying, well, if you've always dreamed of it, always is a long time. You know, I'm 52 years old next month, you know, and if I'd always dreamed of doing something, that's 52 years I've dreamed about it and done nothing about it. So if you've always dreamed of something, or if you dream of doing something, then start putting steps in line to actually do it. And I've always been a bit of a doer. Some things have happened quickly, some things have taken years, but I've always done it. You know, if I believe, right, this is what I want, then don't wait for it to land on my doorstep. Start looking for that opportunity and looking to find it.
I just thought I'd stick this up while we were chatting away. It's got the list of where you can find the podcast that we were chatting about earlier.
And you can also find Love in Your City.
What the yes, hell? Apparently you can if you read the comments on YouTube.
Obviously, my YouTube's got a great audience. So
I could see you smiling as they came up, and then I was smiling as they came up, and I was like, I wonder if we're going to say anything.
But definitely check out Michelle's podcast. Like I said, you know, at the very beginning, I know how long you've been wanting to launch this podcast, and
how much I've been putting it off.
And how much you've been putting it off, and then you're like, oh, do I write my book? Do I do my podcast? And then you launch your podcast, and you know, and I saw you posted it inside our private group, and I'm like, oh, brilliant! I'll stick it on while I'm making my tea, and I'm just like looking at my phone, going, oh my god, Michelle is just a natural. She's like absolutely brilliant, and I couldn't do that because I'd be like, and it just flowed all the way through, perfect, brilliant delivery, brilliant subject, 25 minutes. Bang, and I was like, yeah, I love it. None of this, you know, 40 minutes of waffle and 10 minutes of information. It's 25 minutes of information, and then Michelle signing off until next week. I loved it. Really first class. So I recommend anybody to check out Michelle's podcast. And also, if you listen to her on like Amazon Audio or something like that, leave her a review, because, you know, anybody who does stuff like this, you know, I'm a self-published author. Reviews made a huge difference, and they're really, really hard to get hold of. You know, people say they'll do it, but they never actually do it. So go on, leave Michelle a review as well, because she definitely deserves it, because she's doing this for free. She's putting this out there and doing this for the benefit of all of us as photographers, to improve our lives, improve our mindset, and improve our positivity.
Yeah, and I think it's so important in our industry, because it's something we don't discuss half as much as we should. We really don't, and it's time for all of us, especially with the way the world's going at the moment, and it's dragging people down. It's just to have something that you can listen to that uplifts and gives you ideas on how to be happier and to improve in life, rather than letting everything around you pull you down and make you feel worse, because it's not good.
So what we got in store for next week on our next Thursday? Monday. for our live next Thursday, yes.
Oh, for our live next Thursday. Yeah. Sorry, I thought we were still on the podcast then. That is a really good question. What do we have for next Thursday? I have so much going on, guys. Let me find out for you right this minute exactly what we're doing next Thursday, because I have it written down. Oh, how funny. This is me showing I'm human, guys. Oh, look, and it's showing you my thing that I didn't mean to do. Let me stop screen share. There we go. So next week we have photography goals. Oh, this is going to be a great subject.
Cool.
Me and Jeff both love a good goal topic. And I know with Jeff's book that he showed you earlier, he's massively into helping you achieve your goals and what you want to do. So we're actually going to discuss setting your goals for next year, because it is that time. It's coming up to doing it, but also about keeping them consistent and creating those habits that we need to create in order to be consistent and make the goals happen, not just set some New Year's resolutions and then 2 weeks later we give up on them. So we're going to be discussing how to make it happen, and make sure that you don't give up on them on New Year's Eve or the day after.
and it is so powerful, you know, and it's about doing those little things, isn't it, that makes the difference. And that's what we're going to learn about next week, about how easy it is for you to go from where you are now to where you want to be in little steps, little manageable steps that you can do every single day. You know, if you want that big, huge follower on social media, you can have it. If you want to be published in magazines, you can have it. You know, if you want to raise your prices to 10 times what they are now, you can do it. But you got to do these in little chunks. You can't, it just doesn't happen overnight. But it's keeping that consistency. That consistency is key. And it's probably one of the hardest things about goal setting. You can set all the goals, but being consistent is the hard bit. So we're going to learn some tips and some advice towards keeping up your consistency and making your goals work next week. So it'll be next Thursday, 12:30 again. And in between that, we got next Monday when Michelle will be releasing the next episode of our podcast. So like I said, head over to Photographer's Mindset Podcast and catch up on the introduction and our first podcast episode. And then you're ready to listen to the next one on Monday.
And thank you all for joining us and for your comments. It's really, really good to get comments and discussions going throughout the live. It makes a big difference.
Brilliant. And thanks, guys. Thanks, Michelle, again for your time. You've been an absolute star. And look forward to seeing you next week.
See you next week, everyone.
Thanks again. Bye now.